My name is Zakir Muhammad, and you are listening to the Living Legacy Podcast. I am a brand cultivating strategist and photographer. What that means is I help you to make your social media pages look good. At 6 months old, a camera saved my life. At 9 months old, I was officially dubbed a cancer survivor. I have been in 10 countries, including Ghana, West Africa, the Gambia, Senegal, and South Africa. Now it's my turn to teach and inspire you to step outside of your comfort zone. And this podcast will feature women I admire and have met as they share stories about professionalism, entrepreneurship, business, travel, life, marriage, and how we got connected. Lo and behold, I may interview some of my favorite men too. If you have any suggestions on the topics you want to discuss, leave them in the comment below. And as always, please be sure to subscribe and download. So, for those of you who don't know, I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on December 20th, almost 4 weeks early. I was diagnosed with hereditary bilateral retinoblastoma, which is a rare children's eye cancer. So it's a childhood cancer, and hereditary means that there is a gene that could be passed down to my children. Bilateral means that it can affect both eyes, even though by the grace of God, my mom took a picture of me when I was 6 months old and spotted a white glow in the image of where there should have been a red glow. So you know how when the flash goes off, you'll sometimes see a red glow, and that's how you know there's a lot of blood going in the eye. But instead, my mom saw a white glow. So she ended up taking it to more than one doctor for a diagnosis. But by this time I was 9 months old, and the second doctor then said that surgery needed to happen right away. So my right eye was surgically removed. So since then, I have worn a prosthetic eye in my right eye. As a result of radiation from chemotherapy later on, I have also experienced a hearing loss. So my hearing is still declining to this day, and I wear hearing aids in both ears. But it has not stopped me from loving all kinds of music. I'm what you would call a music head. So, I mean, any genre, you name it. Any artist, you name it. But I will say that my favorite artist, right now, I really love Sierra. I just love what she's doing. I've been following her since she was a teenager. And I just love how things have just turned out for her, because she kept the faith. And Chris Brown is what I honestly consider the millennial generation of Michael Jackson and Usher. He's really, really talented. But yeah, so I listen to all kinds of music. And so, let's see. The thing about my cancer is that most children rarely live to be 5 years old, at least 5 years old. I've known people who have survived longer than that. Even myself. I shouldn't even be talking to you right now, but I am, by the grace of God. But it's took me a long time to understand the fact that I am a survivor. I never really understood it. I never really took the time to connect the dots that you survived. It's a good thing that you survived, because I survived something that's difficult, something that's very rare. Back when I was first diagnosed, there were only about 200 annual cases of retinoblastoma. Now, there's about, at most, 9,000 cases a year. So luckily, the good thing is that now the survival rate is about 95%, but there's still a lot to be done because the numbers should not be going up. As far as cases should be going down. So there's still a lot more work to be done. But fast forward, let's see, I was 6 years old and I was given my first camera, which was a Kodak Polaroid camera. And thanks to my mom, from there on, there was nothing that could stop me from photographing everyone and every place that I went and everything. And so, but for me, with the camera, that was my voice, that was my way to share my vision, the way that I see life through my monocular vision, the fact that I do see with one eye. So, of course, it's still a blessing to still be able to see the beauty, and all that's surrounding us. And, not to mention all the countries that I've been blessed to be able to go to. So, even though with, my first few cameras, I started out with travel and landscape photography because my dad was a CDL, 18-wheeler truck driver. So I would go with him, on my summer trip before I even started school. I would go with him. So I ended up seeing more states than I can recall. But by middle school, I ended up capturing candid moments of close friends and family. So then my mom gave me a birthday present of my first digital camera. And this digital camera was so cute, so cool. It had a video capability. Of course, everybody by then had, high-end digital cameras, but I was just grateful to have a camera. I was so grateful. It was small, but I was still, happy to capture those candid moments. Now, even though in middle school, by the time I did go to middle school, I was considering going to school for psychology or something like that because of my ability to be a good listener and be a good friend. I mean, I'm a Sagittarius, so that's a no-brainer. But being a good listener was definitely a developed skill because I had to go through audiologists, I had to have speech therapy, I had to go through all kinds of teachers, just to be able to be comfortable with its listening. I mean, even though to this day I'm still a lip reader, but, it makes a difference, the fact that I can genuinely listen to people. Because, the thing about listening is that you're not really supposed to be listening to responding. You are supposed to listen to genuinely understand what the person is trying to convey. So this was middle school, and then by the time I attended my second technical high school, now we moved around a lot. I think 7 times in 13 years to be exact. So I went to 2 high schools, and by the time I attended my second high school, I chose to study in the commercial photography program. And that's when I really just, my whole world opened up because I was able to learn more about studio. They were able to learn about portrait. But also by then, I was able to gift myself with a DSLR camera, a digital single lens reflex camera. So a Nikon. I'm a Nikon girl. So, yeah, it just took, a lot of time for me to realize that there's so much more to life than focusing on the negative thing, especially, I was, also bullied for being what they thought was 4 eyes when in reality it's 3 eyes. But I was bullied, emotionally. It was just, a lot to deal with emotionally too. But for me, it wasn't until I started to really tell people my story that, like, okay, I'm a retinoblastoma cancer survivor, that I started to really hear the phrase and it started to kick into me like, you are so inspiring, you're a miracle, you're amazing, because really it took me hearing it from my family and my friends and people who I did tell for me to believe it in myself. And, I mean, it's going to be hard, because I will say that there were times where I felt, denied of access of opportunity because I am considered deaf-blind. Now, even though I'm not deaf enough or blind enough for certain grants or certain scholarships for school and whatnot, I still, realize that when it's too much, I just hand it over to God, So basically, here's the thing. When I was like 3 years old, my mom told me this story. When I was like, I think 3, maybe 5 years old, I was just adjusting to wearing a prosthesis. So we finally had the Ocularist, who was really good, and we've kept him for so many years. But we had an Ocularist who made my prosthetic eye to fit perfectly. But at that time I was still adjusting to it because I'm like, what is this thing in my eye, right? So my mom was, for example, leaving with a babysitter because she would have to work. And my dad was working on the road. She had to work too. So my mom said one day the babysitter called freaking out because I just handed her this eye. I handed her an eye and she didn't know where it came from or what to do with it or anything like that. So my mom freaked out and came home. But when it happened again, my mom just noticed how nonchalant I was about it, right? So if it bothered me, if it came out, if it, whatever happened, I just handed it over to whoever was my caregiver that day. And I realized that's just been my motto. That's just how I am, like just when it's too much, just walk away. When it's too much, just leave it there and hand it over to God, hand it over to your caregiver, hand it over to whoever it's supposed to go to, and then everything will be all right. So, I am just, so grateful to still be here, to be able to, share this story, because all the challenges that I have been through, whether it's in school, out of school, in the workforce, out of the workforce, in life, with any relationship, has made me a better woman, a stronger, more confident woman, but in any of the times that I would just seen as disabled first, like, even though sometimes I do have my moments of feeling insecure where I would just hide the fact that I do wear hearing aids, or the day where my prosthesis would be acting that way, because some days, every time it does get changed or cleaned, like, I have to take it out, it's just like a contact lens. You have to take it out and clean it. So every time I would take it out and clean it, it would not go back to its form immediately. And sometimes I would kind of feel insecure about that, because then I know people would ask, oh, she got lazy eyes, she's cross-eyed, what's this, what's that? So then I just, made it past that to understand that I just had to make it my goal, a conscious decision to be healthy, to take care of myself. That's all part of self-care. So then I just gotta, instead of feeling intimidated or bullied by what people assume, I just, happily educate them along the way. Like, no, actually, this is not a real eye. So, but then, obviously the more I did it, the more I realized that my purpose really is to, educate people and inspire people to share their stories, So my advice to you is really to just get out there and have your own life experiences. Life is too short to be taken too seriously, I mean, look at me. Today, I am a podcaster, a marketing agency owner, a happily married woman, a world traveler, a soon-to-be best-selling author, There's so many things out there, and God is not finished with you yet, So that's what I've had to believe, and I'm just grateful for the platform to be able to share my story, because there are times where I would look at these trending hashtags on World Cancer Day and Childhood Cancer Day, and I'm just like, okay, what about retinoblastoma? What about us? So I'm just happy to be able to, let you know that if there is something that you notice going on in an eye, and you take a picture, well, it can be in sunlight. You can see people's or the eye color change color if the sun's, shining right on them. If you don't see something that, if it doesn't look normal to you, don't brush it off. Definitely get it checked out. Get to the eye doctor. You can get free eye exams. Get to the eye doctor and have them check it out. Okay? Because I mean, I've heard my doctor one day when I went to go visit, he shared a story about how people now Photoshop. If they don't see a red eye, of course it's easy, natural to Photoshop the red eye out. But if it's a completely different color and you still Photoshop it out, like, and then what? It's like you're putting aside, you're not prioritizing the health or whatever's going on. So definitely get it checked out if you happen to see someone with any kind of eye issue. Even if they do happen to look like their eyes look in different directions, look like, whatever it is that you think is abnormal with the eye, and you don't already have a clear diagnosis about it, get it checked out by a doctor. Same thing with your hearing. If your hearing had been declining, you never know what it could be, because there's so much radiation in this world with all the technology that we use, that you never know what could be affecting you. So just take care of yourself and get checked out, because you don't want it to be too late, because we all got one life to live, right? Thank you for listening to the Living Legacy podcast. Be sure to subscribe and download so you don't miss the next episode. If you want to learn more, you can visit zakiranayar.com. Be sure to share with your friends and suggest any topic that you want to be talked about.